Hello, I just wanted to go over some useful information for making UI. There won't really be a structure to this video. I'll just give a lot of unrelated information that will help you. And I'll also mention some useful resources. First of all UI files need to go in resources/common/UI/custom. This is true for all assets actually. So if you're adding items, you would put them in common/items/custom. And they would be copied into the asset pack once you compile your plugin. If you're making UI, you should make sure to enable Diagnostic Mode by going to Settings and scrolling down to the bottom. And this will give more detailed error messages. If you want to hide a player's HUD, you can't set it to null because that will kick the player. You have to set it to a custom HUD that doesn't have anything in the build method, like here. If you want to dynamically update the HUD, then you can do something like this, where you put a function inside the HUD with that sets something. So here I'm setting the text of a label to whatever string I pass in. This is my UI file, so I've got a label here, and I'm setting this text. And this function is called an update HUD command, and it just sets the label to the number of times the command has been called. So as you can see, I've got this HUD which opens when I run /show HUD, and then I can update the text by typing /update HUD, and if I type it again, it updates again. And then I can type /hide HUD, and the HUD will disappear. I've also got a UI page, so I can type /show page, and this pops this up, and I can type /hide page to hide it, but because I have to close the page to type the command, it's a bit hard to demonstrate. This is the code to show the page. It's the same as before. And to hide the page, you can just set the page to none. I've written some text-based documentation for UI. It is available on hytalemodding.dev, and it just goes over everything I've talked about in this and the last two UI videos. I also wrote a Python script which parses all the UI files that are present in the Hytale server and the Hytale client, and it generates a list of all the variables and types. So this is useful for creating UI. It's not perfect, as you can see, like there's some types that aren't actual types and the parsing got messed up. But like you can see, label style is a type, and you can see all the values that Hytale has used for every field. And there's also UI elements. So you can see here, the ones with the warning sign next to them, they've only been seen in the client. So you might be able to use it in the server, but we can't tell. You might notice there's one limitation with custom HUDs right now. You can only show one at a time. But Buzz135 has made a mod which wraps the custom HUD, and it lets you show multiple at the same time. If you want to use this, you will need to download the mod from CurseForge and put it in your mods folder. I'll add a link to it in the description. This is my example code for showing multiple HUDs. So first, in the pom.xml, you need to add a repository section and add the hytalemodding.info repository. You also need to add the MultipleHUD dependency. And then in your manifest.json, you need to add this line here, which just says you're depending on MultipleHUD, and it must be version 1.0.1 or greater. And then I've just got this original HUD, and I've got a second HUD, which I've basically just copied the HUD file and changed it a little bit. So it's just a transparent red panel. In the show HUD command, I get the instance of MultipleHUD, and I set custom HUD, and I pass in my HUD and a string ID. This is used to hide the HUD later. So I've just got a constant in my HUD file, which has got my plugin, and then a colon, and then the name of the HUD. And to hide the HUD, you just go over here, and you pass in the ID that you want to hide. So now if I type /show HUD, I've got the original HUD and I've got a red square, and I can hide them. This is just an example. With my example, there is no reason to use multiple HUDs. You should just put it in one. But this is useful if you want like multiple plugins which all have their own HUD. I will have the code to the original HUDs and UI pages, and I'll also have the code for multiple HUDs in the description if you want to see. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe.